Hey there, science fans! Welcome back to another exciting episode where we dive into the wonders of everyday technology. Today we're talking about one of the most important inventions in our kitchens, the refrigerator. This humble appliance has revolutionized the way we store and preserve food, making our lives more convenient and our meals fresher. Can you imagine life without a fridge? No more cold drinks on a hot summer day, no more fresh fruits and vegetables, and say goodbye to leftovers. Our daily routines would be drastically different, and meal planning would become a real challenge. Our fridges are essential for keeping our food fresh and safe to eat. They slow down the growth of bacteria, ensuring that our food stays edible for longer periods. This not only helps in reducing food waste, but also saves us money. But have you ever stopped to wonder how these magical boxes actually work? What goes on behind those closed doors to keep our food chilled and fresh? It might seem like magic, but it's actually some pretty cool science. Refrigerators use a process called refrigeration, which involves the removal of heat from one area and its transfer to another. This process is made possible by a few key components working together in harmony. In this explainer, we're going to break down the basic principles of refrigeration and learn about the key components that make it all possible. We'll explore the role of the compressor, the condenser, the evaporator, and the refrigerant. Each of these parts plays a crucial role in the cooling process. So, buckle up, science explorers, and get ready to chill out as we explore the amazing world of refrigerators. Let's dive in and uncover the secrets behind this indispensable kitchen appliance. By the end of this journey, you'll have a newfound appreciation for the science that keeps your food fresh and your drinks cold. Let's get started. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of refrigerators, let's talk about a fundamental principle of physics: heat exchange. This principle is not just limited to refrigerators, it's a universal concept that applies to many aspects of our daily lives. Understanding heat exchange can help us grasp how various cooling systems work, from air conditioners to car radiators. Heat exchange is simply the transfer of heat from a warmer object to a cooler one. This process continues until thermal equilibrium is reached, meaning both objects are at the same temperature. This is why when you touch something cold, it feels cold because heat is being transferred from your hand to the object. Think about a hot cup of coffee. When you leave it out on the counter, the heat from the coffee will naturally flow into the surrounding air, cooling the coffee down. This is a simple example of heat exchange in action. The same principle applies when you place a hot dish in the fridge. The heat from the dish is transferred to the cooler air inside the refrigerator. Refrigerators use this same principle, but in a more controlled and continuous way. They are designed to maintain a consistently low temperature inside, regardless of the temperature outside. This is achieved through a cycle of evaporation and condensation, which is facilitated by the refrigerant. Instead of just letting heat escape naturally, they use a special fluid called a refrigerant to absorb heat from inside the fridge and release it outside. The refrigerant cycles through various components, including the evaporator coil and the condenser coil, to keep the inside of the fridge cool. Now let's meet the key players in this cooling process. The compressor, the evaporator coil, and the condenser coil all work together to ensure your food stays fresh. The compressor pumps the refrigerant through the system, the evaporator coil absorbs heat from inside the fridge, and the condenser coil releases that heat outside. Understanding these components can give you a better appreciation of the technology that keeps your food fresh and your drinks cold. The compressor is like the heart of your refrigerator, pumping the refrigerant throughout the system. It's a powerful pump that compresses the refrigerant gas, raising its temperature and pressure. Imagine squeezing a balloon. The air inside gets hotter and more pressurized, right? The compressor does the same thing to the refrigerant. This hot, high-pressure gas then travels to the next stop on its journey, the condenser. Without the compressor, the refrigerant wouldn't be able to absorb and release heat effectively. It's the driving force behind the whole refrigeration cycle. Remember that hot, high-pressure refrigerant gas from the compressor? Well, it's time to cool it down. That's where the condenser comes in. The condenser is usually located at the back of your fridge. You know, that part that feels warm to the touch. The condenser coils release the heat that the refrigerant absorbed from inside the fridge into the surrounding room. As the heat dissipates, the refrigerant condenses back into a liquid state. It's like steam turning back into water. Now the refrigerant is cool and ready for the next stage of the cycle. Section 5. The expansion valve, a crucial bottleneck. Next up, we have the expansion valve, a small but mighty component that plays a crucial role in the cooling process. Think of it as a bottleneck for the refrigerant. As the liquid refrigerant flows through the expansion valve, it experiences a sudden drop in pressure. This pressure drop causes the refrigerant to cool down rapidly. It's like letting air out of a tire. The air gets cold as it expands. This cold, low-pressure refrigerant is now ready to do its job. Absorb heat from inside the fridge. Let's move on to the evaporator. Section 6. The evaporator, cooling down the fridge. The evaporator is where the magic happens. It's where the refrigerant actually absorbs heat from inside the fridge, keeping your food cold and fresh. The evaporator coils are located inside the fridge, and they contain the cold, low-pressure refrigerant we talked about earlier. As warm air from the fridge comes into contact with these coils, the refrigerant absorbs the heat, causing it to evaporate back into a gas. This evaporation process cools down the air inside the fridge, just like sweating cools down your body. The now warm refrigerant gas then flows back to the compressor, and the cycle begins anew. Section 7. The thermostat. Maintaining the right temperature. We can't forget about the thermostat, the brain of the operation. The thermostat is responsible for maintaining the right temperature inside your fridge. It does this by monitoring the internal temperature and signaling the compressor to turn on or off as needed. So, when the temperature inside the fridge starts to rise, the thermostat tells the compressor to kick in and start cooling things down. Without the thermostat, your fridge would either be too cold and freeze your food or too warm and let your food spoil. Section 8. Benefits of refrigeration, food preservation, and waste reduction. Refrigerators are more than just convenient appliances. They play a vital role in food preservation and waste reduction. By keeping our food at low temperatures, refrigerators slow down the growth of bacteria and other microorganisms that can cause spoilage. This means that our food stays fresher for longer, reducing the amount of food we waste. Refrigerators also allow us to buy larger quantities of food less frequently, saving us time and money on grocery shopping. Overall, refrigerators have had a significant impact on our health, our wallets, and the environment. Section 9. Conclusion: how it all works together. So there you have it, the amazing science of refrigeration. It's a fascinating process that combines several key components working in harmony to keep our food fresh and our drinks cold. From the compressor, which is often considered the heart of the refrigeration system, to the condenser, each part has a specific and crucial role. The condenser coils, usually located at the back or bottom of the fridge, help dissipate the heat absorbed from inside the refrigerator. Then there's the expansion valve, a small but mighty component that controls the flow of refrigerant into the evaporator. And of course, the trusty thermostat, which ensures that the temperature inside the fridge remains consistent and just right for preserving your food. Remember, it all comes down to the principle of heat exchange, a fundamental concept in thermodynamics. The refrigerant, a special fluid, absorbs heat from inside the fridge and releases it outside, creating a continuous cooling cycle. This cycle repeats over and over, ensuring that your refrigerator maintains a cool environment for your perishables. Next time you reach for a cold drink or a snack from your fridge, take a moment to appreciate the intricate science and engineering that makes it all possible. It's truly remarkable how these components work together seamlessly to provide us with the convenience of refrigeration. Stay curious, science fans, and keep exploring the wonders of everyday technology.